where to stash my money during this high inflationary environment so I can preserve my wealth and have the capital to invest in great opportunity that's going to be followed by a high inflationary period. We're going to dive into a few of the investment strategies to combat against a high inflationary environment so you can keep your money safe. So first, getting a fixed loan is actually surprisingly a great way to combat against high inflations. Current fixed loan on primary homes or single family homes are at 4 to 5%. Sure, it is a little bit higher than last year when it's really, really low, but it's still a great rate when you're looking at 8.5% on cash burning rate. Why is that a good idea? Because by borrowing money at a 4 to 5% rate, when the money is devaluing at 8.5%, you're actually making 4 to 4.5% of the delta over there. So you're winning for sure. Now, the key is obviously not to take the loan on your house and go buy luxury goods at this time, but instead, you should use that to reinvest in something that is going to yield higher income for you or to generate more cash flow. Second is take a look into precious metal. Maybe now it's a good time to start buying. Sure, the gold is at all-time high, the silver is at all-time high, but that's relative because you're using money to buy gold. That could be a sign that the money is worth less and less. So think about this. Gold and silver has limited quantity in the world. Money can be printed as much as they want to. So if your money is burning, devaluing at 8.5%, the rate maybe even higher, then holding precious metal that has limited quantity is going to help you preserve value a little bit better. This applies to any kind of currencies and etc. that it has a limited quantity. Like when I say limited quantity, it's going to be really hard to reproduce them. So that's a good way to also preserve your money. But as an investment, you're probably not going to see a huge amount of increase in value that's used for against inflationary scenario to preserve your dollar value. So treat your gold kind of like money. Third, the tip, which is Treasury Inflation Protected Security. What is that? It's basically a type of bond that is tied with inflations. So therefore, as the inflation increases, it kind of preserves its value in that amount. So similar to gold, you're trading your money to these bonds and it goes and preserve the value at the time of purchase. Lastly, and my favorite kind, real estate that generates cash flow. So this can be mobile home park, apartment buildings, storage units. These are typically great assets to be invested in because it continues generates cash flow. If you have an asset and that generates the cash flow, you can hold it. You don't need to sell it at the point when the market's down. You're not too worried about it. So it's a great asset to kind of hedge against inflation as well as depression. So when your tenants are paying your rent, the rent kind of goes up together with the inflation. So as the inflation goes up, your rent's kind of keeping up with that, sometimes even exceeding it. In the whole last year, across the nation, rents has gone up 20% and inflation is only 8.5%. So you actually continue to make money and cash flow out of that delta. So also your expenses will be increasing, but there's an expense ratio versus your income. So as long as your cash flow is positive, these assets are great investments during a down cycle or an inflationary environment. We have a lot of resources on our website about investment in general, the stuff that we mentioned above. We also have a video with Lynette Zhang on our channel, talks about how to invest in gold and silver.